Hi guys, it's Sarah. So what happens if you find a deal and you haven't got a buyer for it? How do you deal with that? Now, what I want you to understand is it definitely is going to happen. You're definitely going to have a situation where you've got a deal with no buyer or you've got a buyer with no deal. They very rarely come at exactly the same time. The art to this is being able to build your investor list and your deal pipeline at the same time. So what I mean by that is building your investor list is where you're networking, you're connecting, Facebook, Instagram, networking meetings. You're building a list of people that you're starting to get to know and understand what their buying criteria is. And in the same breath, at the same time, you are also building your pipeline of deals. What I mean by this is you're connecting with vendors, with agents, with letting agents, with landlords, people that want you to solve their property problem for them, okay? And then what happens is you'll be effectively guided by your investors. Let's say you start to get lots of investors who want 3-bed terraces in Sheffield, for example. I don't know why I picked Sheffield, but Sheffield. Then you'll start looking in that area and you'll then find deals that match their criteria. If you can source to order or source with an end game in mind, it's going to speed that process up for you. But if you get somebody say yes to you and you don't have a buyer for them, what we tend to do is ask for a period of exclusivity from the vendor or from the landlord. Now, that could be any sort of ranging amount of time from 3 days to 7 days to 14 days while you go and find a buyer, while you arrange the next step. Now, at that point, you really need to basically just work your butt off until you find an investor that wants a deal like that. Sometimes you will find that you have a deal and you don't have a buyer lined up. That's fine, that's normal. It's not ideal, obviously, but you can work to get that buyer. Then you go to your basic marketing technique. So you would do a brochure, put the information in the brochure about it. So what are the numbers? What does it look like? What's the deal? What's in it for them? You would then promote that online. Usually I use Facebook groups. That's one of the best places I've found to find buyers. So put those details into those Facebook groups and you will get inquiries, and at that point you can then do your due diligence on your buyers, find out what they're looking for, see if you can connect them up, and then you make that introduction. So don't panic if you've got a deal and no buyer or a buyer and no deal. They very rarely come at the same time. The art in this business is to be able to build your lists and build your pipelines of both so that when one comes, you can naturally just attach it to the person or the property at the other end that needs what they want. I hope that's been helpful. I'll speak to you soon.